Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Waifu, which might change again. It went from Mr. Waifu material to Mr.RJ-Sama to possible new username in the future. We have a couple big things. First off, if this video comes out the day I'm recording it, which is Monday, it's today, hopefully it's today the video comes out, I will have basically done daily uploading. I told you guys from the beginning I wasn't going to be uploading on Sundays. And if I do, the videos will be updated or recorded in advance. So if anyone was interested in that, that's kind of where I was. I did Friday, Saturday. Obviously, I didn't do Sunday. And then it'll be Monday, Tuesday. Because I'm recording 2 videos today. Because I won't have time to do it Tuesday, but I still want to try to do the daily uploading grind, as well as the fact that these 2 videos are very similar in what they are. So yeah, this is a borderline 2-parter, so if I'm wearing the same clothes in both, I'm not disgusting, I'm just recording it in the same day. Speaking of disgusting, we're finally gotten away with the Discord mod neckbeard. So if anyone was interested in that, I finally have some facial definition from what it looks like. I don't look like a giant blob of degeneracy, which is funny because I have a pile of video games right on my bed, which, in case you're wondering about that, that isn't for this video, it isn't for next video, it isn't for a video. I don't care what a groundhog says. It's spring, and I'm going to clean up my drawers. So, if anyone was interested in that, it is an action figure collection day. I'm doing this video for 2 reasons. 1, it leads very well into the next video. And 2, I want to be able to look back at this and see my collection. And considering I've really only been collecting for about a year, I feel like this is a very impressive collection. So, all things considered, I'm going to be going over Mcfarlane DC Multiverse, Mcfarlane Page Punchers. I'm going to be going over Mcfarlane My Hero Academia, Mcfarlane Destiny, Mcfarlane nothing else, and then NECA. I have a NECA figure, and then I'm going to go over some sealed products, because I do have a couple sealed boxes over here, which is kind of why they're hanging out here for a bit. So yeah, I would link this stuff in the description, but A, most of it you can't get on Amazon, and B, I'm too lazy to do so, because there is a lot here. I'm going to go somewhat in depth on what the figure is called, so if you genuinely really want to know, like, oh my god, this figure looks cool, where can I get it? I'm going to try to say the names of all the different figures. I think we should just jump right into it. I'm going to just grab a bin. So at the moment, because a lot of the things that are going on with my current setup, mostly it being not really a setup, also, I try to get this room as clean as possible for every video, but it's always a mess. I try. It's just always trashed. Anyway, they're all in bins at the moment because I'm basically just trying to make sure everything is going to be easy transfer for the next setup, as well as the fact that I don't really have room to display all of these figures, so most of them are in bins. In fact, at this point, a lot of my stuff is in bins because I have a lot of stuff. I have a big collection. However, I don't have a lot of room. So they're kind of in bins. I have manga in bins. I have action figures in bins. I have, I think, almost all of my Lego sets, with the exception of my Speed Champions, are all in bins. Oh, and my one of my lions, the Monkey Kid lion, is not in a bin. But a lot of my stuff is just in bins. So yeah, I thought we would go through that. I'm not going to go through all the accessories or anything, mostly because most of them don't have anything with them. I have the stuff, it's just all scattered. They're either in my sorter, or they're in another tub of just action figure, like the bigger parts. So yeah, without further ado, I think we should just get into it, so that way we can make this video as painless as possible. I'm not going to go in any particular order, mostly just by bin, but if there is a figure that doesn't really fit in with everything else, I will wait until after I'm done with the whole section. So I'm just going to start with DC Multiverse, Mcfarlane Toys. I do have DC Multiverse figure, I'm sure you could tell right here. That is Mattel, I believe Mattel. I just knocked over all my stuff. Mattel. So we're probably going to do that after. I think we're going to do Mcfarlane DC Multiverse, and then we're going to do Page Punchers. Then we're going to do Mattel. Then we'll do My Hero, and then we'll wrap up with Destiny and NECA. Um, yeah, let's do this. There's a lot to go over. I'm gonna for this video. The reason I want to do it like this is because I want to try out timestamps. I think that would be fun to try out timestamps. I've never done it before. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm just gonna start with the spin. First off, first figure right off the top, we have the Justice League Snyder Cut Cyborg. I think this figure looks fantastic. I feel like it gets a little bit too much hate and it's really underrated. Um, this figure is really, really good looking. He has an extra arm. This isn't the one that actually he comes with. He does have an extra arm. I think he looks great. He has really interesting hinges because of the fact that he has like very interesting hinges. None of the other figures look or feel like him, and he's really unique. I really like this figure. I feel like he's a really underrated figure in my collection. So I like this one. So yeah, Justice League Snyder Cut Cyborg. Next up, let's do another Justice League Snyder Cut figure. We have Jason Momoa's Aquaman. I like this figure a lot, but I don't think it looks anything like Jason Momoa. It's really tough to tell, but of course my camera won't focus because it's still focusing on my gorgeous face. Um, he looks really, really good. However, he just doesn't look like Jason Momoa. He looks a good deal like Aquaman. I think his armor is really awesome. It's very, very detailed. And I think his trident is really cool. It's in one of the tubs, as I said, because none of these characters are going to have their accessories or extra hands. I think he looks great. I really like this figure. Let's just continue with the Snyder Cut. We have the Chase version of Superman. This is the red and blue, or just the Man of Steel color scheme instead of the black and silver color scheme. If you have this figure sealed in box, do me a favor, don't be an idiot like me and open it. Considering this is probably the last figure they're ever going to do of Henry Cavill, unless they go back and do Man of Steel or BVS, which I can only pray. This is going to be the last version of the figure, and last version of this character in particular, and a lot of people are going to want this figure really bad. So, yeah. That isn't my last Snyder Cut figure. Those are in other bins, but we will stick with the DCEU and go to Hawkman. So this is from Black Adam. I think he also looks really, really good. I think the gold on him looks really nice, and I feel like he looks a lot like the character. The holes in the back are for the wings, which are, again, taken off and put into a bin because I didn't want to ruin them while he's in storage. He comes with his mace from the movie. I think he looks fantastic. I think he does look a lot like the actor, even though his face is covered by a mask, which, again, my camera just doesn't want to focus. I'm really sorry. I think he looks really good. I don't think I liked him as much when I originally got him, but he's definitely a figure that has grown on me, all things considered. Let's go to the Batman next, because I have Mr. Robert Pattinson himself as the Batman. This figure gets a lot of hate, and some of it is valid, like the side-eye really pisses everyone off. I think that is absolutely valid. But I think the attention to detail, the cape, the armor, with the exception of the hand, which, if you know, you know, he doesn't come with any extra hands, and the one hand he has for this arm, for his, would that be his left arm? Left arm? Right arm. Has a huge hole in it unless you have the grapple hook in it. And if you don't have unless you have the grapple hook in it, if you don't have the grapple hook in it, it looks weird. And the only way to get an extra hand is by buying the Bat Cycle, which I do not have. Again, I think this figure looks really good with the exception of the side-eye and the karate chop hand. But I feel like this is a really underrated figure. So yeah, I am happy to have this one as part of the collection. Let's just go to the other Batman figure I have in my collection, which is Catwoman. I actually keep this one, ever since I bought it, you can tell because the base is so dusty. Ever since I bought this figure, she went right up there onto my shelf and then didn't move. Honestly, this is the first time I've picked her up since. I think she's a good-looking figure. I think she's a decent-looking Catwoman, but her mask is completely inaccurate to the movie, And the only way to get an accurate mask is by attempting to hunt down the gold label version, which sold out for the store, and now you can't find anymore. So yeah, she comes with her whip, which I do have her with. This is like the only character I'm going to show with the stand and the accessory, because the other characters don't have the stands with them, or the accessories. I think this is a very underrated figure as well. I think she looks good. I think she is underrated. She's not the best Catwoman in the slightest. I think Nightfall Catwoman is definitely up there, as well as the Arkham games Catwoman, for obvious reasons. If you know, you know. But yeah, I think this is an underrated Catwoman figure. Next up, actually, I'm going to adjust something, so hopefully the audio doesn't get too bad, because that is starting to bother me. So, yeah, next up, Dark Knight Returns. I have 2 more figures in this bin, and then we move on to the next one. We have the Dark Knight Returns Superman, the Man of Steel himself, part of the Build-A-Figure wave. I think he looks really good. He does come with extra hands. Again, I don't have them on me at the moment. I really like his head sculpt. Hopefully I can actually get it to zoom, to focus this way. No? Are you sure? Alright, never mind. I'm not going to do that again. I think he looks really good. I think the extra hand additions were great. I'm glad he didn't come with a flight stand. I think this is a really good looking figure. I feel like he is a very good version of Superman. However, he is my only semi-accurate comic book Superman. We'll talk about that in the next video, but I think the figure looks great. I'm really happy to have it in my collection. I am a Superman fanboy, which you probably won't be able to tell because most of my figures at this point are Batman. Anyway, speaking of Batman, next up we have another Batman, the second Batman, and that is the Dark Knight Returns Batman armored version. This is the single figure release that has the inaccurate color scheme, but I got him for $5, so I'm not going to complain in the slightest. He does come with extra fist and punchy hands, but honestly, I feel like this figure is hated on, especially for when you can get this figure for $5. If you're a Dark Knight Returns fan, and you can still find this on sale, which I'm sure you can, grab this figure. He looks great. He is really cool to pose. He's really cool to have next to some of the other figures, if you have any of the other ones in the Dark Knight Returns collection. I think he looks awesome, and I'm really happy to have him as part of the collection. So, actually, I'm just going to do this figure really quickly. This is the figure I have on my desk. You probably saw him in the 2 videos ago, episode 3, when I changed the look of the setup for a video, which I'm never going to do again, by the way, because I thought it looked awful. I have the Rebirth Batman, also from DC Multiverse. I think this figure looks fantastic. I didn't love him. One of the other Batmans was my favorite Batman for a while, which I'm going to get into in a bit. But this figure has absolutely grown on me. I love the coloring underneath the back of the cape. I love the coloring around the bat symbol. This figure is fantastic. Actually, I'm just going to put it back up here. I love that figure a lot. He was almost overshadowed by another Batman in the collection. I'm going to move this really quickly. It was almost overshadowed by another Batman in the collection, which I'm probably going to get to fairly soon. He's not in this bin. So, last bin, you guys are going to see the Batman that almost overtook him. A lot more figures. Let's start just, again, off the top. We have the Dark Knight's Metal Superman. I really like this figure. First off, if you saw, I don't know if you guys were able to see, but in the last video, or not in the last video, excuse me, again, episode 3, when the setup was slightly changed, I do have a poster of this guy in my room, and that was one of the driving forces to get this figure. He is part of the Darkfather Build-A-Figure wave, kind of the Batman Darkseid crossover. I thought it looks really cool. I think this figure looks really cool. I really like him as part of my collection. I feel like a lot of these figures are really overhated. Like, when people talk about the best Mcfarlane figures, they go right to, like, Thomas Wayne Batman or Action Comics 1000 Superman, which, to be fair, are all great figures, but I feel like all of these figures are just so good. There is a figure I'm going to get to in a second that I really don't like, but this is a great figure. Dark Knight's Metal Superman. Next up, Speed Force Flash. So I don't have the base version of the Flash, but I do have the Speed Force variant, which you can only tell from the back. I did a couple photo shoots with this guy. I love this figure. He actually was there before Batman. When the Flash trailer came up, I actually swapped from Henry Cavill Superman to this figure. This figure is fantastic. He looks so good. I'm so excited for the new Flash so I can have them side by side. This figure looks so good. If I could have any figure on the shelf other than my Batman, which sadly I only have room for one, it would be this figure. I think it looks amazing. Next up, we have the DC Multiverse Injustice 2 Dr. Fate. At first, I wanted this figure so bad. Now that I have it, I don't like it. I don't like it for two reasons. Number one, this. Now, it's hard to tell, but this is kind of just glued to these two flaps. And if you try to do any sort of posing, whoops, it immediately breaks. It's really frustrating, and it's not even, I mean, obviously it's poor design choice on Toddy McFarlane's fault, or on Toddy McFarlane. But I think the look of this figure is good, with the exception of the cream-colored cape, which is inaccurate. I believe it's inaccurate, as well as just this. This makes me mad. The new Page Punchers Injustice 2 Dr. Fate, which has not been released yet, doesn't have the waist cape anymore. So that I probably am going to grab that just to replace this one, and this will go somewhere in a bin. The other reason I really don't like that figure is because of this figure, the Black Adam Dr. Fate, which looks nothing short of fantastic. This is probably one of my favorite figures in my collection. No hesitation. I might do a top 3 at the end of this video really quickly. If I do, this figure is up there, if not number 1. I love this figure so much. He looks so good. The gold on the front of the cape, the nice, you can tell all of the little detail on the back. It's so accurate to the movie. The helmet is fantastic. This figure is borderline perfect, and I'm not even mad it didn't come with any accessories. It's borderline perfect. I love this figure so much. Definitely, actually, I'm going to set this one on the side for the top 3. This is a Page Punchers, so we're going to save that for later. Next up, we have Black Adam. This is the Throne edition. He does not come with any electricity, any extra hands or anything. He comes with the Throne, which, again, I have up in a bin with all of my other landscape and accessories and stuff like that. I think this figure is a good-looking figure. I'm really happy to have a Dwayne The Rock Johnson in my collection, and I really cannot wait to get the Shazam figure so I can have them next to each other, because if they're never going to face in real life, they're going to face on my shelf. So I'm really happy with this figure. I think this figure looks great, and I really am excited to wrap up the Black Adam collection, which I'm going to talk about in the next video. So yeah, Black Adam, boom. Let's wrap up the Black Adam figures with the Mega figure. You could tell because it's bigger. Atom Smasher. Now, I don't have the base figure for Atom Smasher, but this is a really good-looking figure. He doesn't come with any extra hands, sadly. He just comes with the open kind of, I don't know, about to grab something hands. Oh, I'm so glad I have a filter. Anyway, I think this figure looks really good. I think he definitely, even in figure form, he gives off Deadpool vibes. I think he looks great. My only issue is if you try to pose him upward, there's just a huge gash in his chest. So yeah, don't pose him looking up. You got to kind of keep him either base or preferably kind of slouched down a little bit. I don't know. He's in the bin, so I really like this figure. I want to get the base version because I want to have it so that I can kind of keep them all in the same general height scheme for when I put them on shelves. But I really do like that figure, and I'm really happy I have it. Last 2 figures in here are both Dark Knight Returns. We're going to start off with the base version of Batman from the Build-A-Horse wave. Love this figure so much. This was not the Batman that almost overtook the Rebirth Batman, but I do really like this figure. I have a special place in my heart for the Dark Knight Returns. The movie is fantastic. The figures are just as good. I feel like this was one of the first waves where they really did something special. The first Build-A-Figure waves where they really did something special with these figures. And I think very specifically the Batman, next up is Robin, spoiler alert. the Superman, Joker, they all look fantastic. And the horse is phenomenal. I don't think I have the horse down here, but I love the horse. So yeah, the Batman looks absolutely fantastic. Dark Knight Returns, Batman from the Build-A-Horse wave, and finally we have Cassandra Cain, question mark. I honestly don't remember what version of Robin this is. I know she's from the Dark Knight Returns, obviously. First off, the fact that this figure is smaller, I think she looks really, really good as Robin. I really like the way the cape looks, and I do like the reuse of this body on the new gold label Dick Grayson Robin, I think. And the new one looks very good. I think this figure looks very good too. I've said that about... Is there a bad figure in here? Oh yeah, there is. we're going to get to him in a second. This figure looks great. She's part of a really awesome figure collection, a figure set. I really like this figure. Moving on. Done with bin number 2. The only thing in here are the Flash lightning accessories because I forgot to take them out. Last bin. Oh, we're going to get into some good stuff here. Again, off the top, we have Superman, the Man of Steel himself, in the black and silver costume. Part of me likes this figure more than the special edition, the Chase variant version. But they're both so good. They're both Henry Cavill. You can't go wrong with either of them. Actually, I'm going to mention that in the next video. I was going to say something. Actually, I'll just say it because I already started. I don't want to leave you guys on edge. Mcfarlane makes, in a similar scale, a Witcher Netflix set based off of the Netflix series. So, hypothetically, I could grab the Witcher figure, and who is also played by Henry Cavill, and put them next to each other. So that's pretty cool, actually, and something I'm considering for the setup. So I think this figure looks fantastic. I think he looks great, but he is the exact same as the other one, so different color scheme. We're moving on. Next up, we have another black and silver suit. This is the animated version. From what I know, this is the evil future version of Superman in the animated series. I believe this is after Lex Luthor kills the Flash? Question mark? But he looks really good. I really like this figure, even though he can't stand. I almost kept him sealed, but I was like, nah, I want him open. I think he looks great. He has very weird legs. His proportions are weird, but that's kind of the animated series look. He has a nice cape, though. I kind of do like this flimsy-esque cape. He comes with a steel beam as an accessory. I don't know. His head you really cannot position, though, because of the way it's chiseled. I feel like the look compared to the actual show is there, but it's more of people want to display their figures and they don't want to display this. So yeah. Next up, we have the... Oh, this one has her accessories, I think, mostly. Yeah, most of her accessories. This is the Todd McFarlane designed Wonder Woman. This is the original, not the gold label. That is the chrome version. I really want the gold label chrome version. I really like this Wonder Woman. I got this Wonder Woman as a substitute because we don't yet have a classic version of Wonder Woman. The face sculpt and paint job is really nice. I really like the Valkyric look of her character. I love the sword, even though I'm going to have to bend it into place with boiling water at some point. And I think the shield looks fantastic. I think she looks really, really good as a figure. I feel like she's also an underrated pick, especially if you're looking for a comic book Wonder Woman. This is the one you should go for, if not the gold label. Those are the two you want to go for. Next up, this is a bad figure. This is probably up there with Dr. Fate in Justice 2. This is the Drifter Bruce Wayne. Now, it's hard to tell because the head isn't there. This is actually the motorcycle helmet that comes with the Drifter motorcycle, something I have. I'm not going to show off because it's in a tub. I think the helmet on this figure makes it look better. The helmet off this figure, which I can't even take off. I was trying to take it off before, but here's the thing. You take off the helmet, the whole neck joint comes off with it. You can see it in there. Yep. And obviously the other head doesn't have its own neck joint. So, basically, if I want this figure to have a head, this is the one it's having. I don't mind it with the helmet, but it's definitely going to stay in a bin. I got it or I believe my dad got this one for me. He said he got it for a good price, and I really hope that that's true. Next up, you can't have Superman without having his greatest villain, General Zod. This is the rebirth version of General Zod as well. I think this figure looks so good. He was, I know he was in a couple people's best of 2022 list, and honestly, he deserves it. He has a ton of hands, a ton of different pose ability in terms of what he can do, what he can look like. I think the head sculpt looks fantastic. The armor and the body looks so good. The cape is just, I gotta stop. This figure is so good. He's not in my top 3. I believe. Maybe he is in my top 3. I don't know. We're not doing the top 3 till the end. But this figure looks really great, and I'm really happy with this figure. I think he's really good looking. Next up, we have the last Dark Knight Returns figure in the collection, which is the Joker. This figure looks great. He doesn't have his knife, because, again, bin, and he doesn't have his other hand, because, again, bin. He comes with a fist hand and a knife. He looks so good. However, I still feel like I don't have a Joker as part of my collection because of the way this figure looks. He has the white suit. He really is all white. I feel like he's going to blend into the white shelves that I want to get, which I'll talk about in the next video more. I think this figure looks really good, but all things considered, I definitely don't think he's my favorite. I feel like he has a lot of issues as a figure. But I do really like this figure. I feel like this is one of the better Jokers, and I still need a Joker because I really don't. I was talking fairly recently with my dad about the new Heath Ledger Joker for the Dark Knight trilogy action figures that are coming out. I forgot I had this in my collection. I was like, Heath Ledger is probably going to be my first Joker, and it doesn't even look good. And then I was like, wait a minute, I have the Dark Knight Returns Joker. I completely forgot. This is a very forgettable figure because he doesn't even feel like the Joker. He just feels like a dude. So, yeah. Actually, all of the praises I just said, out the window. This figure is garbage. Next up, we have another Wonder Woman from the Endless Winter Frost King Winter King Build-A-Figure wave. Underrated Wonder Woman. Underrated Wonder Woman. She doesn't have she comes with a sword and a like a sleeve. What are they called? A sword, sleeve, sheath. No, sheath? Sheath. Let's say sheath. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. A sword and a sheath that can go onto her back. I think this figure looks good, but she's not my favorite out of the two Wonder Women. I do want to collect the rest of the Endless Winter Build-A-Figure wave, though, because I think all of the figures in Endless Winter look great. Especially the Black Adam, because I want to have a comic book Black Adam. Speaking of comic book versions of characters, we have the Batman Hush Batman. I hate this figure for a couple reasons. Number one, you see anything wrong with his neck? I don't know if it's just me, but it's just kind of barely hanging on by a thread. I like to think I'm a fairly strong individual. I put very little effort into taking the head off. Very little. 2 fingers. Move it slightly. I really hope it's not just me. I've seen other people who have had issues with this 2-pack before, because this is the Batman from the Batman Hush 2-pack, which I'm going to talk about in a second, which already I had an issue with because it didn't come with the freaking shovel. In case you don't know, the accessory for Hush was supposed to be a shovel. He didn't come with the shovel. My 2-pack just didn't have it in it, which was weird because the 2-pack was still completely sealed, like factory sealed. So I don't know what happened. I'm missing a shovel, and the head on this figure doesn't stay there. 1 out of 10 wouldn't recommend. This figure sucks. Next up, Hush. I don't hate this figure, but all things considered, he's pretty bland. I want to get the single release so I can get the blue version of the Batman Hush, and that way I'll be happy again. Maybe. I don't know. Those figures are going in the bin. I don't care about them. Next up, we have the Communist Superman. This was my first 3 figures, fun fact, were the black suit Superman, the blue and red suit Superman, both from the Man of Steel movie, and Red Sun Superman, or Communist Superman. If you don't believe I was a Superman fanboy, I am. I promise you I am. This figure looks really good. He does come with extra hands. I think the color scheme is nice. I think the way they printed the logo looks good. The cape is fine. I think one of my favorite parts about this figure is the fact that he doesn't... he is built like a Russian in the way his figure looks. Like, he doesn't look good slouched over. He only looks good, like, completely, like, just face up, like, perfect. What is it called? Why am I not thinking about this correctly? Why are words so hard? Perfect, I don't know. Now I actually feel stupid. But, you know, the thing where, like, you stand up straight. Yep, perfect standing up straight. Why am I here? What am I doing? Finally, the only Batman I thought was better than the Rebirth Batman, the Three Jokers Batman. Oh my god. This Batman is so good looking. I love the big, beefy, bulky Batman. I think he looks fantastic. The cape is the lighter kind of rubbery material. I think it looks so good. This figure, when you pose it, he just looks fantastic. This figure just screams, like, can I say that word? YouTube terms of service have been very weird lately, so I'm not going to risk it. He just looks like a very cool Batman. Cool Batman, yeah. Cool. Actually, no, he's not going to be my top 3. But yeah, so that is all of the Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse stuff in the collection. If you're only here for the DC Multiverse collection, then you're free to leave. If you want to see the rest of the stuff, which honestly there really isn't much, feel free to stay. It should only take another 5 minutes or so, hopefully. What's next? The Page Punchers. So I know I made a big deal out of the Page Punchers, but I only have one. That is the Injustice 2 Page Punchers Batman, or Injustice series Page Punchers Batman. It didn't specify Injustice 2. Oh man, this figure looks great. I love this figure. He was on the shelf first when I originally realized I had an extra spot for just one figure. He was the first one up there. I think this figure looks really good. I think the comic he comes with is cool. I don't know. I don't know how to read, so it's not like I'm enjoying the comic book or anything. I think I am. I think the figure looks good. He has a lot of detail. He comes with 2 batarangs. I think he's a good-looking Batman. So yeah, that is all of the Page Punchers in my collection. So let's move on to the last of the DC items. This is the DC Multiverse Mattel Suicide Squad Batman. So this is sealed in box. Finally, no glare. This is sealed in box. This is the Ben Affleck Batman. It's the only Ben Affleck Batman in my collection. I love him with all of my heart, soul, and mind. Just like Jesus Christ, who is my savior. And I love them both just about the same. That is a joke. Please don't smite me. He comes with a grappling hook. He comes with something. He comes with an extra breathalyzer head. He comes with the batarangs. He comes with the handcuffs. This is when he... Wait, that's not handcuffs. I just realized what that is. Is that what it is? What even is that? Maybe it is handcuffs. I don't know what it is. He's never seen holding them. This figure was gifted to me for Christmas. I plan on keeping this figure sealed. I want to collect a good amount of the Mattel series sealed, mostly because they have like a Funko Pop side profile with the actual character on it. I think it would be really cool to get a couple of these and kind of just line them up. It's weird though, because with the way that the figures are designed, it looks like this is the side that's supposed to be out there, but it's not. This is the side that's supposed to be out. So I don't know. Yeah, he's a good-looking figure. I'm telling you, good-looking figure. However, one of the reasons I'm keeping him in is because he's 6-inch. He's not 7-inch like all these other figures. So yeah. Next up, let's go back to some Mcfarlane stuff. We're gonna go to the My Hero. Let's start with opened. I have One for All and Tenya Ida. These are both opened, but I'm not going to take the figures out just because it would take too long. And honestly, I just want to keep them in the boxes. Excuse me. Until I build shelves and start working out the collection, they will stay in the boxes. I think One for All is a good-looking figure. I think Ida is a better-looking figure. But I think I'm just going to keep them in the boxes for now because all things considered, that's where I want them. So that's where they shall be. Finally, we have one more sealed figure in the collection. That is I have a sealed one for all. These were on sale on Amazon for, I think, $7 a piece. I ordered 2, hoping I would get the gold label. I didn't get the gold label because it was an Amazon exclusive, and I hate Mcfarlane, and I hate gold labels. Anyway, I didn't get the gold label figure that I actually wanted, so I got this one, and I just kept it sealed. So at some point, I'm going to try to sell it off because it is going up in value a little bit. I want to make some ROI, aka return on investment. AKA stands for also known as, just so y'all are aware. So I think this is a good looking figure. I'm happy to have him in the box. I'm happy to have him sealed. So yeah, the only other Mcfarlane Toys figure in my collection is the figure that got me into action figure collecting. Again, doesn't have any of his accessories, mostly because some of them are lost. This figure has been through hell. This figure I have had since... Oh, at least 2015. I mean, I can't... At least 2015. This is the Mcfarlane Toys Destiny Warlock from their Destiny wave of figures. Phoenix Warlock, I think is what this one was called, or Crow Warlock or something. Maybe. Honestly, I don't know. I can't find this figure anywhere. He looks really great. I think he looks fantastic, but I really can't find any information about him. They don't do the Destiny line anymore. This is a 6-inch figure, not a 7-inch figure. So I don't know. But this is the figure that got me into action figure collecting. It's one of the only original action figures that I tried to keep in good condition. He's really the only action figure I never was like, oh, I want to play with that. It was like, oh, I want to display that. That looks cool. I remember buying it at GameStop. That's all I remember. So, memories, I guess. This video is getting long, so I want to wrap up. The last figure in the collection is NECA. This is the Boys Starlight. I do have all of her accessories as well. She is, however, one of the reasons I got her, and one of the reasons I hope to get Black Noir and Homelander, are because they're in a 7-inch figure scale. And I really like the idea of having a bunch of the other figures in 7 inches so that they can all kind of stand relatively close to each other. But yeah, she isn't 7 inches because she's in the 7-inch scale. So she isn't like, where's Batman? We have the 3 Jokers Batman again. She's up there, but obviously Batman, well, then again, he's also not at his full height, but she's up there, but she's not as tall as Batman because Batman's like a 6'2" behemoth, and she's probably like 5'7", 5'8", I would think. I don't know. I haven't seen her measurements or anything. That'd be weird, right? Yeah, I think this figure looks really good. I really like the cloth cape. I kind of wish Mcfarlane would do that, but I just think that the molded capes are just so fantastic. So yeah, I think this figure looks great. This is the last figure in the collection, guys. I'm not going to do anything crazy. Just, this is part 1. This should be releasing today. Part 2, I'm going to be talking about how I want to build shelves, what figures are going to be going into the bin, and stuff like that. So if you guys are excited for the next video, please drop a like. Please make sure to subscribe because we're only 100 million subscribers away from passing Mr. Beast. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Monday. This is Waifu Material signing out.